Well folks, welcome back to the workshop and to hopefully a very interesting Bosch hammer repair video. We have a Bosch hammer here and for a complete rebuild. A lot of damage done to this and it's going to need a lot of work. This here is the GSH 5CE hammer. Now, we've done videos on these before, but this one is going to be a little bit different because we don't have one of these. We have got two Bosch hammer GSH 5CE hammers, both Bosch, exact same model, both with the exact same problem. Only difference is this one is from 2016 and well outside of the warranty. This one is 2024 and only a few months old, under warranty. So this is going to be a wee comparison video looking at two hammers of different ages with the exact same problem to see what the components are like inside, how one wears and how the other one wears. This one's done 8 years of work. This one's only done a few months of work. So let's strip these things apart, hopefully get them cleaned up again and see what the main problem with these here wearing out is. See if the new one is any worse than the old one. We'll start off with the old one. We'll actually start off with just running the two of them here first. I'm hoping it's the exact same problem because I have the parts ordered for them already. Now this one was in before. As you see from the number, classed it as being too expensive to repair. Didn't have the man's phone number and it was costing over €300 fix. But his son's come back saying he does actually want to pay to fix this thing, so we are going to go ahead and fix it. What I believe is wrong is the normal crack. The armature's good, but the gears are gone on top. So what that means is it needs a complete service, needs a new crank, and it needs a new armature, making it very expensive. Well, we hope, because it ain't running now. No, I opened this before, like I say, so maybe I actually had the brushes pulled out of this so we didn't do any more damage. So that one's a non-runner. I'll just check the warranty one. This one's only just come in the other week. I ordered the parts up for it straight away. Very, very fresh. A man's doing wall chasing with this, so it is running a long time, but it's only done a few months work and it's come up the same fault. So you can hear the gears and you can hear the armature's actually gone, so a new motor needed inside of this anyway. If the gears are worn, the crank's going to be worn, and there's metal inside, it's going to need a service, so we're going to have to fix this one up under warranty anyway, so this isn't going to cost this customer anything. Two different customers, by the way, not the same one. This man does a lot of chasing, builder. This man, not sure what he does, but this one's about 8 years old and done quite a bit of work. It's been in here a few times before already. I think it's had a few services in the past. So I'm going to start with this one, start stripping this down. So this one was made in 2016. It was probably bought the same year or in 2017. It was serviced here in 2019. I've done a wee modification job on this as well. Might have to change that lead as well or else shorten it. And I did pull the brushes out, that's why it's not running. Last time I had it done I must have pulled them out. So we've got a full service kit in 2019. It was in then in 2023. Not worth fixing. The exact same problem. No cost, no number to ring the man on, so eventually went back to him. He mustn't realise it wasn't fixed. He sent it back in again now in 2025. Still the same problem, given the exact same price again, but this time he says he wants to go ahead and fix it. So it has got a full service kit once. The other two times it's just been diagnosed as being burnt out or worn out. He's also stripped out them screws as well, which will make things a little bit more difficult. You might have to drill them out to save the controller because I have not ordered one of them in. I'll have to try and get that out later. Either way, this lead has to go. So This is a common fault with these Bosch hammers. You used to get it like this one after years of use, but the modern ones are happening a little bit sooner, a lot sooner. Within a year of they're getting general regular use. It's not something you want happening on a €700 hammer or tool. Get rid of that because that'll be in the service kit anyway. So these. Like I say, we've done this before in other videos, but it's always interesting to see what's causing the problems, and this will be an interesting way to find out. You're looking at the old and the new. There used to be some of these Bosch hammers with oil in them. I don't think this one had oil either. I think this one's still a grease, but they've changed the top of it. So the main thing I want to see is what oil seal they had at the top, because they changed it to grease, but they left the old type of oil seal. So you could still put on oil if you wanted to, but since now with the newer models, the newer types, they've changed this top cover and the seal, so you can no longer put on oil. I think that is the main problem. The cable is, look. That's a problem with these here. The very short distance between the lead, the cable clamp, and the actual terminal ends. It's a very short lead you need. Everybody always leaves it too long like this, especially have big strap connectors on it as well. That's not going to help. But if you don't have the actual grommet, the cable on the cable clamp, that's what happens. You clamp nothing, it eventually starts twisting till you break your cable. See if we can then we screws out later and replace them with fresh ones that haven't broken. Hopefully won't have to change this here controller as well, especially seeing as this is the one that's not under warranty. When you get this far to open it up, I'm going to get the bearing from the armature out of this here top piece. All you need is a wee rubber mallet or dead blow hammer, something soft face. So this is only nylon, not metal, and you're hitting the aluminium gearbox here, so something soft. And just tap it off, and there's the problem straight away. Look, see the wear, teeth in the armature are worn out, so this will still be running a little bit. I think she was sparking badly, but then again it is well worn. The actual com bar is worn down here too, but this here's the main bit. That's very slack too. This is just to be holding down the device to make sure the piston stays down. They can become loose, but they only cost like €2 or €3. So if they're loose, you just replace them. And there is the other bit of the problem. Teeth on the crank. See, they're all pointing this way. they're totally worn out. So they're worn through. They started wearing and slipping and wearing onto the armature here. So these teeth are gone. Replace this and leave this. It's going to sound terrible whenever you run it, and it's going to last no time anyway. So to fix it, the only thing you can do is replace the armature and the crank. Because them teeth are worn, all the bits of debris and metal are going to be in the grease now and throughout the hammer, so you also have to service it. So it's just a full strip job, wash out and rebuild with a new service pack. Luckily, this is still the newer type one, which is more easy to disassemble. No clip down the inside to take out the striker bolt. This is one of the pins. So that is going to be the same as the one under the warranty. Pull that wee spring clip off. That'll be in the service pack also, so we can get rid of that. And just let these little steel pins drop out. That can come off, and these can all drop out. And the O-rings are a wee bit worn as well, so probably would have been due a service anyway. Get that out. Take out your piston. Just check the actual conrod on it. Sometimes these can melt if the grease starts going dry. That looks okay so far. That's gone. That's the main thing we need to replace. Also just check the needle bearings. If you're in any doubt about these, just replace them. Don't think they're too bad. Lastly, I wasn't just doing a full job on this, we're going to also just replace this oil seal. You don't always have to. It doesn't always wear out as fast as everything else. As you can see, there's plenty of grease at the bottom of it, so oil is getting past it. This one still has the wee tripod support in the middle. It doesn't really do anything. A lot of times you'll get these on anyway with that broken out. Tap out the oil seal, get rid of that. I'll put a new one on. To wash all that out, we're going to also wash out the whole motor housing too. First we just get the armature out. Stick the old armature in the vise, clamp the gears in the vise and turn this here nut to get it off. You can see the wear in that, and also you can see in the middle the densela. That looks like somebody pulled the stop pin out of it. Yeah, that segment there looks to be gone too. So the armature is burnt out. It's done a wee bit of work, it is worn on, but I say the last set of brushes stopped on them, and I made it pulled out the wee plastic pin to get it running again. But then the spring would have actually ate onto the copper, so that's done damage. That's what that a little bit of wear's from. So because the crank's worn out anyway, this here gear's worn, so we have to change the armature. We'll also just change the bearings, seeing as we're at it. That one's gone anyway. So now it's over to the parts washer. Give it all of this a good scrub. You can also just get rid of that as well. Now, as that one drip dries, we'll get on with this one. So we're going to do these simultaneously. I'm not just going to rebuild, dismantle, fix and rebuild one and then move on to the other. We're going to take both of them apart, clean them both of them up. We'll actually compare the parts right against each other. Most of them should be very similar. And the way that they're built should also be very similar, if not the same. I think this top cover is the main thing. So there's how much work it's done. Next to none. Brushes are used, but they haven't been used much. They actually haven't even worn down through the wee teeth in the top yet, unless he's actually changed these since. Actually, maybe he has. There's no way it's done that amount of work and only done that much wear in the brushes, so I'd say maybe he has actually changed these brushes already. But like I say, he does do wall chising. He'll be running these for hours at a time. Yeah, they'll wear through in what, maybe 10 or 20 minutes. This man could be running this here for 8 hours a day, and he's had it for a few months now. So he's probably just tried a new set of brushes on it. Either that, or he's already worn through a set. Same as the last one, just take this lid off. Hopefully this one comes off. Bit easier when it comes off like that. T10 torque screwdriver. If you're ever changing the lead, it's not a Phillips or a Posse. Use the wrong end, you're going to strip out the heads of them screws and cause yourself a lot of pain later on. They're tight when they're fresh. There we go. So far, basically the same. Same wear pattern again, just this time on a brand new machine. Instead of been 8 years old, this thing is at most, it's not even 8 months old. And there's the main difference between the two. There's the felt sleeve up here for catching the oil. Instead of being a bung, now it's a little hole with a piece of felt in it. That's the main difference in these two. I think it's the main difference anyway. Now what's the crank like in it? I'd imagine it's going to be the exact same. A lot more grease in this, but it's just as black. Now as well, as you didn't point out at the beginning, I actually remember selling this machine to this man, and he had the same problem with another machine that was repaired under warranty as well. Same thing, gear stripped out of it. Whenever he left that one, and for warranty repair, he actually bought another one again. But whenever he bought it, I done my normal trick, or what I sometimes do now is I actually opened up this cover and I took out a little bit of grease and put in some oil. So that's why this is a little bit thinner. So this is actually thinned out a little bit. So even with a wee bit of oil in it to keep this grease on, even still it pulled up over here and was taking off the gears. So this thing still wasn't getting enough lubrication even with some oil in it. So the grease is just too thick. And that is just what's happening. The grease is thick. Once she's running, it gets thrown off the gears. And it's just not coating them, causing the gears to run dry and wear. I was assuming this was more a problem with intermittent use. Somebody only runs it maybe 5 or 10 minutes at a time, and the grease is never heating up. This man's doing wall chising. He could be running this here thing for hours. So that grease is getting plenty warm enough, as you can tell by the colour. And it is getting around, but even still, it's just not staying on the gears and not getting enough lubrication to keep the gears running right. So more than likely, it's not just the fact that it's thick, it's also probably not high temperature enough. It's not suited to a hotter use. So the insides of this should be the same. Same hammer, just tight. Same clip holding on the striker. Just take that off actually because it's been replaced anyway. Plenty of grease in it. You can't see it just ran dry. There's loads of grease in the thing. Piston's okay. Generally, this is going to be the main bit. Yeah. Same crack. Gears, the teeth on the crank are just wearing too fast. They're all pointing back this way. So same as the last one. The crank's worn out. It's wearing out the gears in the armature. Bits of metal are storing the actual grease inside, so it needs a service. So new crank, new armature, service kit, and new grease. And we'll also just change the bearings as well, I'd imagine, this thing. Just a hell of a messy job. might only be new, but clearly getting use. It's not gone, but that's starting to get a little bit loose. So it must have done a good bit of work. Yeah. Definitely wasn't the first set of brushes. Compare that to the other one. So this is the warranty one, only a few months old. This is the 8-year-old one. So this has been getting constant use. This one's probably just been getting occasional use. Both nearly got the same amount of wear. See the shoulder there. This one also has a shoulder. Not as much, mind you, but there's definitely a shoulder there. You see in the com bar too, in this newer one, there's one spot here, a shiny gap in it. So that armature is on its way out too. Not much difference in the manufacturing on them though. Wee bit more dip in this one, and maybe not even actually. Probably the same amount of resin. Made the exact same way. Let's not model them up now. So that's the older one, and this is the new one. So it has done a good bit of work. That must be the second set of brushes it's on. Just a few months. I'll just take that out as well. Just because I'm sticking it under the parts washer. Get it looking nice and fresh. It's very stiff. Won't pop out no problem. Just always check these wee connections, make sure they're not coming loose or slack. Can sometimes break off due to fatigue. That looks okay. Still fairly tidy. Just greasy now for me working at it. Have to wash that out. Might have to wash that too. I'm not sure if I have another one of them. And also just check the needle bearings. They look good too. Oil seal. I was going to say should be alright, but it's actually looking a wee bit greasy in there too, so I might actually just change that just in case. Would hate to do all this work and have to develop an oil leak into the motor. It's a lot cheaper just to change it now than to change it later. As you can see in this one, the tripod is no longer there. Like I say, it wasn't really doing anything to begin with. That. Right, back over the parts washer again and wash all this stuff out. Now, that's the two of them, stripped apart, all cleaned down, dried up, and all laid out nice and neatly to compare the two. Two Bosch hammers, same model, same fault, different years. Can you even tell which one is which? One is just a little bit more worn than the other. Between the two, you can't really tell much difference. Now, they are both the same model. They're GSH 5CE, but they are two different type numbers. So this one is the newer one from 2014. This is a 3611 C21062 type number. Same model, different type number. And this is the older version from 2016. This is 3611 C21060. So type numbers are different. Makita do it differently. When they change parts, generally you get a wee update whenever you go into the breakdown diagram. The parts list, you'll see in the parts list that one part's now obsolete and there's a new part number to cover it. Bosch do it a little bit differently. If they change something, if they redesign a motor or something like that there, or they change the tool holder, they'll actually take out a whole new type number of machine. The same model number, but they'll have two different type numbers. There'll be one breakdown diagram for this and one breakdown diagram for this one. Everything else will be the same, just apart from whenever parts have actually been changed. And if something major like an armature has been modified to like a different sleeve or something, or a different bearing, it'll actually tell you, show you old and new as well, what's actually been modified. But looking at the two of them here now, there is very, very little difference between them. The main one being the top covers. This one has a little bung in it. This one just has a little hole, and a piece of felt sitting in here to catch any oil or grease that leaks out, because these can't be sealed up on top tight. Obviously whenever it heats up, it'll make pressure and grease will leak out somewhere. So this is just a wee spot for the grease to leak out. If it does have to expand from heat or something like that there, it generally leaks out into these little felt sleeves here. Every hammer has them. That's the main difference here. I've always assumed this is more for oil than grease, but I'm starting to think maybe I'm just wrong. If you go back to the older model again, the type number before this, that'll be the old square type machine instead of this rounder one. But that actually had an even heavier grease. The yellow thick grease, the 001 grease, that's what that machine actually used. This one uses the lighter white stuff. Now, which is better? I would say the yellow stuff, because it's more sticky for the gears, but then it's thicker, mightn't get moved around as much. But the older machine never had this problem. This is just with a newer one. The other model, the GSH 5E, an older version of this one, that actually had oil in it. So I would have took about 50 or 60 ml of Bosch oil, and it never wore through these here gears. But like I say, I put oil into this one to thin down the grease, and it's still done the exact same thing. So I'm starting to think maybe it is just the cranks that is the problem and not the grease. Or maybe it's a combination of both. Now you might have thought as well that putting on the oil into this one might have just caused this to cavitate more, and that's what caused the wear. But nah, I took out some of the grease before I put the oil on, and that there's the felt sleeve. If it was cavitating, it would have been too much pressure inside the gearbox, and that would have obviously made pressure, made a lot of heat, and it would have made a mess. And generally, if it heats up, makes pressure, it's going to squirt out the grease or oil into the felt sleeve. But that's all that came out of it. So it ain't to do with the oil, it is through either the grease or more than likely the crank. Hopefully on its own, but it could well be the armature as well. If it was a bad crank and the armature wasn't damaged, you could get away with just replacing this. Because these are getting damaged as well, it's making a very expensive repair. This one is obviously free because it's warranty, but this one is going to be costing around €300 fix, including all the actual parts and labour. So ain't cheap, but it still beats buying a new one if it did happen to you, because a brand new one's still going to be costing you around €700. The only other things that's really changed in these two hammers is one, the crank housing. This little tripod has been removed from this one. The rest of it ain't too different. Hammer pipes, basically identical. Two things that have changed, I think. One, the indexing disc for locking on your chisel rotation. They're a little bit different. That's not major. But the good thing about the newer one is the actual indexing disc for holding the wee stops for holding on your chisel. This has been changed on the newer one. This one did have a tendency to break. These would break off the little wings, and these taller ones, you wouldn't be able to get your chisel in or out. That's a common fault. I've obviously replaced it with a more reliable one now. These ones very rarely failed. But apart from them few wee bits, everything else on these two machines is just about identical. The exact same parts, and they're all interchangeable, apart from the ones I actually showed you. So much so, I'd actually say, but even though there's an 8-year difference in the two of these, I would say they've probably done the same amount of work. This man's not using his as much, just every now and again. This man is using this thing for hours and hours on end. It's probably been running for nearly the same amount of time, if I was guessing. Now this one as well, these are a few other parts, like the piston, because there's a bit of metal damage in this lot. There's actually pieces of steel embedded in the piston, so that'll have to be replaced. If there's a lot of oil coming out the front into the tool holder, I would replace these oil seals in here, the felt sleeve and the lip seal, but neither of them were all that much oil coming out, so I think they're both alright. And the condition on the two of them, it also makes me think they've both done the same amount of work. Now what I would really like to do is to put only oil into these here. Just rebuild them again, but with the 019 Bosch oil instead, or the healthy oil, and see if there's any improvement. But I just can't do that. One, if I put the oil into this one, I think it will stay. A little bit of a risk of it leaking, but I think it's a minimum risk. But because this man doesn't use it that much, it'll be a long time before I find out if it makes any difference, unless it comes in with the oil leaked out into the motor, which I wouldn't really want. The one you'd want to do it to is this one, but can't do it to this one because this here big hole in the back, if I fill this only with oil, it will definitely leak. But that will be the one we want to test on, because this man's doing chasing and he's going to be running for a long time. You'll very quickly in a few months find out if the gears are wearing just as much. But sadly I just can't take the risk, because there's not much point in doing all this work just for the oil to leak into the motor, potentially run dry up in here and cause more damage again, when it's just not designed to have oil in the not to begin with. The breakdown diagrams do say it as grease. So I tried oil in this one the last time, half and half. It doesn't seem to be any improvement, so this time I'm going to do something different. This time I'm going to use Makita grease instead. So this here is a little bit lighter than the Bosch, but a little bit more expensive. 161490-7. These come in a 30mm tube, one each, because that's all I have left in stock, but they do take 80ml of grease instead of 60, so we'll have to substitute 20ml of the proper Bosch grease as well. But we'll use that as we're rebuilding it, and then we'll finish it off then with the Makita grease and the gearboxes. So that's what we're going to do with these two yokes. Now the expensive bits is going to be the spare parts. We have an oil seal for both, service kits for both, all the same numbers. This one is also going to need the piston, 2 cranks or eccentric gears as they're actually called, and then 2 armatures as well, all the same number. Right, we're going to start off with the older one, so we'll just move all this to one side. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zip it, keep nice and quiet, stick her on fast forward, and get this together nice and quick. Forgot about that. This comes with the oil seal, so don't need these after all. And it also even comes with the bearing as well. Now, that's one, and that took a lot longer than I had anticipated. The lead going into that controller, them two screws, one of them was sheared off. The other one was actually seized as well, so I had to drill both of them out. Tried to drill them out, then extract the screw, didn't work. I had to just drill them out completely and put in a different size screw, and then drill out the hole as well. So, bit of a disaster to start off with. But hopefully, that's up and running again. That just took a little bit of extra time. That's her, sounding like a new machine. Technically it is. New motor, new service kit, new parts inside, just with an older body. All the other bits in this here generally never wear out. So everything else that actually wears and causes trouble is all replaced, so she's now running and hammering like a new machine. Just stick a hammer on it and give her a wee test out here now to make sure she's running right. Nice one. Running like she should, like a brand new machine. So that is the older one, all running again and ready for work. Now to tackle the newer one, the one that's actually under warranty too. So I'll put this away and pull out the other parts. Now I'll take this one a little slower. First off, just get the motor back together, or at least the field. You can take off this brush ring as well, just the 4 screws in the bottom. Or if you're careful, you can just leave it in place. It has to slide into the wee spade connectors at the bottom. Just make sure the holes are lining up, and they should go into the connectors. If you're not sure, you can always test them. Nothing more annoying than rebuilding the whole thing just to switch it on and realise it's not making a connection. So that's right. If you do it wrong, the spade's going to go down and get the other side of the actual spade coming up and just bend it to one side, and it'll not make any connection at all. Some of these parts out here. Your crank. I'm calling it a crank. It's actually called the eccentric cog. There's a cog gear that rotates eccentrically. It's offset, in other words. You can also just see the amount of damage and wear. So on these other two. See the original one as well. This was differently. So they have been modified a little bit. You see this one's actually got hot too. That's from the piston conrod actually rubbing it. Discoloured it a little bit. These are rounder as well. The older one is just a straight clean cut. But you can see the wear, especially in this older one. The teeth are just all worn away to one side. Should be this here nice smooth cycloidal curved gear teeth, not these here sharp pointy ones, especially when they're pointing in the wrong direction. Both of them are gone. That's the replacement piston. They normally come greased already. And the armature then. Normally an armature just comes on its own. These ones actually come with little seal kit as well. So the actual oil seal, the bearing sleeve, the circlip, and a little O-ring for inside the housing, plus the nut. Yeah, there's everything here. It's not just the armature. Which does, I suppose, make it a little bit better priced. Some brands, you change the armature and they don't even give you a bearing on it. That top bearing costs about €7. That there 6 to 8 bearing costs around a tenner. The sleeve costs another tenner. The rest of them aren't that expensive, but just shows that once you take the 2 bearings on, you're actually getting another nearly €20 off with the other parts. But even with that, it's still expensive for the armature. I'll get this little kit on first, and then we'll continue with the rest. So this bottom bearing sits inside this rubber sleeve. It's not going directly into the housing. That goes on there. The nut holds it on. So I'll take us over to the vise now. Clamp the gears of the armature and the vise with 2 nylon blocks or jaw protectors to hold the armature, and then tighten up the nut underneath. Now with it done, you'll see it actually still moves. That's why it's important never to run the machine without this here bottom plate. That's actually pressing down on the outside of the bearing here, pushing the armature up the way. Without that, you can see the brushes won't line up properly, but also the air deflector inside and the fan will actually rub together if you don't have this on. So this bottom plate pushes the armature up to clear the air deflector. So don't even try for a second to run that motor without this plate on, because even if you just quickly start it up for half a second, it'll generate heat and melt the plastic. Right, set that to one side. And I'll get on with this. So this little washer here, or O-ring, is actually down in here. It's just below where the bearing sits. You don't normally change this, you only change it whenever you're doing the armature. You're only doing it because it comes with the kit. There's never any real need to actually change this here O-ring. I'll get a bit of grease on there first. Make sure it's lubed. And this one's awkward to get on. It wasn't too bad. Sometimes it just keeps kinking on you. That's on. Then your oil seal on then. The open side facing on towards where the grease is going. And even with this wee tripod removed, there's still a lip on the underside of here the oil seal is going to. It can't go down this way. You can only push it in that way, and the lip then will stop it, so push it all the way in. And secure it with a new clip. Whichever one is new. That's the old one. This is the new one. We're using the same needle bearings, nothing wrong with them. Just drop in your fresh piston. Just lube that up. And that is everything up until the service kit. Just get everything else ready here now. Gently put in your gasket on top. Don't stretch it, whatever you do. You'll never get it to fit then. Holding down the device. Could reuse that because it presses in here. Sometimes it wears out. Could reuse it, you could stick it in. It's warranty anyway, so I'm just going to replace it. Fresh one just holds in a lot better. Not that it really matters. I think it will cost like €2 or €3 for this part. So it's not like it's going to break the bank. Leave the brushes to litter. Don't understand what they put these little square pieces of wax paper on for. Don't see what they're meant to be doing. Not even a breakdown diagram on these kits. Even though the 11E, they send you in 2. Big O-ring inside the front here. Now we'll just get all the rest of the O-rings onto all the components. Start with the awkward one, the X-ring. Get it up with the lip, hold it with one finger, and roll it on with the other. Just make sure it doesn't twist over as you're putting it on. And the O-ring at the front. Hammer weight. You also don't need this green O-ring now because it's on the piston here already. That came with the new piston. We just need the big black one for the actual hammer weight. And the rest then should be just more for the end. Apart from these two. I'll just get the hammer pipe together, ready to put on. That on now or later. Just going to drop it on now. Normally it actually just pulls off as it goes on. No, that one stayed on. Push down your striker bolt all the way to the bottom. Get your metal ring then. A little bit of grease in these holes. And look at these holes and line up these ones here. Push that all the way down. The holes should line up. Even if they don't, you can adjust them. But it can be hard to move if the hole's sitting here. You can't really twist it around. You might have to remove it and put it back in again. Okay, this comes with a new ring for holding the pins. There's one little split in it here. That's where the open end goes. Slide that down. And then push your pins in through the hole and into the metal, or the steel ring on the inside. And this is what's actually holding in your striker bolt. So this is locked onto the inner ring, and the movement of these slots in the actual hammer pipe, so it gives it its up and down movement. It allows it to go back and forth. And the steel clip then just holds in all the pins. Steel ring goes on top of that. All the steel ring is doing is something for this spring to actually purchase against. After that, no lighter stuff left, so put a bit of heavy stuff on here. Next, just drop in your hammer pipe. And before we put the pipe in, we'll just stick the front seal on. Again, if there's any oil leaking out of this here at the front, we just change these here two rings, felt sleeve and the lip seal. These here is just a wee plastic washer and a rubber bump for the end, just to dissipate any vibrations from the hammer. That's sitting on there. And we can go ahead and reinstall that. Just give it a wee twist as it goes in, and then spin it round. Get your fingers under the seal at the front. Give it a good squeeze. You have to actually squeeze it down past the edge for the circlip. To really squeeze it on with the tips of the fingers, and then never forget to fit this thing. Otherwise everything will just shoot out of the hammer the second you switch it on. Just make sure it's seated in there well. I'm just going to go ahead and rebuild the tool holder while I'm at it. These are fresh, they can be tight. There's a metal ring inside of here that has to overcome this here lip here. So as the thing gets older, gets used, it wears on, it becomes easier to fit. When they're fresh like this, they're a bit tighter. They just need a little persuading. Now that came in the kit as well. Get rid of that. And that's the old piston. New indexing disc. Upgraded one from the last one, the tall one. And we're in danger of them breaking off. A little harder to fit though, because I go down a little bit deeper. And our new clip to hold it all on. Tool holder end. Now, plastic holder here. There are the two screw holes for the top of the handle up here. So if you don't put this on, you'll not to secure the handle. It'll keep pulling back and forth. There's nothing on here into the actual aluminium housing to secure into. That's a good idea because the more you open and close this, the aluminium will wear out if you're using steel screws here. So just in case you ever do wear it out or put on the wrong screw or break off the screw holes, you can easily just replace this part instead. It costs about €2. That goes on first. Then the little plastic cover. Now we can slide on the motor and just twist it as you go to engage the gears and the eccentric cog. And slide it down into place. Get a little blob of Loctite. A lot of Loctite on all these here because this is a hammer and the vibrations could eventually work these loose. I'd always recommend putting some Loctite in these. And before you screw them in, just go reverse till they click. That's how I'm getting onto the same thread. So all these here machine screws, these ones and these ones, they're actually tri-lobe screws or self-tapping screws. They cut their own thread as they're going on. So unless you go on to the same original thread with that click, it'll start cutting a new thread and start wearing out the aluminium, plus it'll make it wild difficult to actually drive them in. You'll end up stripping out the head if they're too tight. Plus when you initially get them started like that, when you know they're on the right thread, you just go ahead and slap them on nice and tight. There's a wee 10mm chuck drill is good for it, wee mealyf. Perfect for the likes of this because it's not really strong enough to strip out the aluminium. If you use the bigger one, you could strip them out. That just puts them on perfectly. Now here, we need the wee felt sleeve on. Drop it on now before I forget. And will I put the top cover on now or later? I suppose you can put it on at the end. Leave it then, put it on the grease too. Just get the electronics and the handle on for now. I'll just stick the lead back on too. And I normally do because these are very short and they do kink here. They can sometimes break more easily, so cut a few inches off and just rewire it fresh. So if there's any weak joint or weak parts of the lead, you'll have removed it. controller on first. Make sure your leads are going to the right spots. And the handle clips down on here. There's two little L-shaped pieces that come out and down. They hook in back here. Hook in and then it pushes in at the front. Just going to put these two screws on for now. Might leave the top screws for a wee minute. Good short cables onto the controller, so that you actually grab the cable sheath then with the clamp. If you leave them long, even an inch long, the actual inner cables, you'll miss this clamp completely. There's not much point of us not grabbing that sheath. You'll use the machine and it'll just be like when the other one was opened up. The cables will be all twisted together and just ready to break. So keep them nice and short and you'll actually clamp the cable properly. That in there, and we'll just stick that over there for now. I'll get the brushes on first, because this cable here will be in the way of the actual brush spade connector. Brushes, your lead, and your bottom cover. Don't over tighten that little nut, it's not really holding anything, it's just holding on. That's plastic cover. It's only plastic, so if you tighten it up too much you're just going to wring it out. So that's sitting on there. Put these on last just to make it easier, so don't knock off this felt sleeve. Finally, we'll stick in our Makita grease. This is a lot lighter, well not a lot lighter, lighter than some. It's a wee bit lighter than the actual Bosch stuff, but generally you get Makitas on. Even the boring hammers, and the grease will be years old, black, dried out nearly, but it'll still be hammering. So the Makita stuff's pretty good, and they give less trouble on the gears, so I'm hoping this stuff will keep the gears a little bit better. It's just well awkward to get out. See the oil running out of it, look. That's what you want. So that oil will protect the gears. Just a wee flat screwdriver. Just run it along the side as you pull back, and that'll take out all the grease. Only 30mm in a tube, so you sort of need to get the whole lot out. These little tubs are well handy to hold on to as well for storage. Clean them out, stick them in with other boxes, or have a whole basket box full of them. Put them into wee cubby hole boxes just for hand holding all the awkward wee bits, wee small screws and pins, O-rings, different things like that. Keeps them all together nicely. Also the perfect height for sitting inside of like a Stanley boxes or tough bolt boxes. So you can close the lid. The lid closes. These aren't in the way, but they're tight enough fit that none will fall out as well. If you're worried about space, just turn that crank, put the piston up, so then some of the grease can get on here too. So that's about 60 mil. I'm also just going to pump a little bit of extra Bosch stuff in, just to make sure it's up at 80. There's a little bit on there already from when I was assembling it. Top cover just drops on. And I'll lock tight on these screws too. Same thing. Left hand first. Screw it backwards to begin with. You hear that click. If you do manage to actually strip out these screws and destroy the threads, get onto the housing, you can just rebore them and put on a bigger screw, something like a socket head or something. You don't always have to just replace the whole aluminium gearbox. Actually broke my torque bit as well, sheared it off one day. So I've actually just ground it down a little bit so I can keep using it, but it's not the best fit anymore now. It's not as tight a fit. So I'll just tighten them up by hand, just to make sure they're tight. See, that one wasn't. That's it. Make sure your felt's in. Push in your handle the final way, and the last two screws. And that's it. Another Bosch GSH 5 CE, fully serviced, fully rebuilt with a new motor, but this one under warranty. Now, let's see what she sounds like. Sounds good. Now just make sure she hits right. Nice one. Running like a new hammer. Suppose it should be, seeing as it is basically a new hammer. That's it, folks. Two Bosch hammers. Same machines, same models, GSH 5 CEs with the same faults, just from two different times. 2016 machine, 2024. Might be a little bit of difference in them, but they still both have the same fault. Bosch still haven't really addressed it, which is kind of annoying because they are actually a nice machine to use. They're probably the most comfortable 5 kg hammer you can buy. I mean, the size of them, the weight, they're easy to use. They're not going to break your arm. If you're doing a little bit of demolition work, they are a great job. If you're taking render off a wall or something, they are great. If you're using it for a few hours at a time, every once in a while, they're a great machine. Like so, this man has had it 8 years already, and it's just now worn out the actual crank. But if you're using it for hours and hours on end every single day, day in day out, like this man doing wall chasing, the gears just are not lasting long enough. You're covered under the warranty for it, but still not something you want for a professional machine. I really wish Bosch would just sort out these here parts and repair this here problem once and for all, because it's just ongoing. See this here all the time. That and the bigger hammer, the Bosch GSH 8/45D, coming on where the same part, the eccentric gear, snaps off the teeth. Don't know what's going on there. I would imagine it's simply because it's the boring one. Maybe this tooth's just taking too much load under whatever condition where the piston and striker's coming back, or else it's doing repetitive motion and fatiguing the particular tooth. They just need to put an extra one in or something to give better rotation so that the teeth are more evenly loaded, so they're not getting a shock load repeatedly. I'm not sure what it is, but they have another common problem if they break off the gear teeth. These ones, they just wear out the whole gear completely. They're a good machine, they're not a bad price. If it does happen, you can repair them up for about €350. That's what this one's going to cost for putting a new motor, service kit and redoing the whole thing. Total price including parts, labour and VAT, $350. A new machine to buy, you're talking about €700 at least. But at least this man doesn't have to pay anything because this is under warranty. But sadly, he's not without more problems. Whenever he left this one on for repair a few weeks ago, he actually bought another one of the exact same model again, because he needs loads of these machines. He uses them a lot. He always has to have 2 of them. When he dropped this one in, he bought another brand new one, and he's just rang me to see if this one was ready or going to be ready soon, because the one he just bought has also just let him down. Not the same problem. It's not the gears. It's running and sounding smooth, but when I was using it the other day, all of a sudden the hammer just stopped dead and the thing started running very free. So I would imagine what happened to the new one is it's broken either the piston or the con rod inside. Everything's running fine, but there's just nothing going back and forth. He says the motor's running perfect, running well fast, but there's absolutely nothing coming out. She's just sounding like she's whirling. So I would imagine the new one has broken the piston inside as well. So this man is having no luck with these machines. I actually do like these hammers, but as you can see, they're not without their problems. Bosch do just need to sort out a few things with them. If they did, these would be one of the best hammers in this here weight class, to be quite honest with you. They're a nice machine, they're a nice size, they're a nice weight, they're nice and simple inside, easy to repair, they're good to use, but not without their problems. Anyway folks, that's it. That's 2 Bosch hammers up and running again, and that's the difference between them. Doesn't matter what the year, once they do a certain amount of work, they do just tend to wear through them their gears. Either for using them constantly, every single day for hours on end, it'll eventually wear them through, or only the odd half hour or 2 over the course of 7 or 8 years, they'll eventually do the same thing. The wear in these 2 things are the exact same, and they have the exact same failure from doing the same amount of work. Doesn't matter if it's in one go or over years, they eventually start to wear out, unless Bosch improve on these here gears and start using better grease. Anyway folks, as always, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this Bosch repair video. As always, if you're liking the videos, give us a wee like and a follow down below. And if you want to help out the channel, you can hit that share button as well. Till next time folks, chat to you later.